Now we'll go to House File 84.
85.
House File 84, Representative Hewitt, would you like to move your bill before the committee?
I would, and I also request that this bill be laid over.
Very good. Representative Hewitt moves the bill before the committee for possible inclusion. Representative Hewitt, to your bill, please.
This is another area that we need to look at. Again, we're trying to do a lot with the funeral industry. We're one of only 4 states that require a 4-year degree right now to be a funeral director. This is something I really look forward to in the future of us looking at again. Most funeral directors throughout the country are technically trained, and as embalming becomes a past practice, most people are now cremated or use other options to go into the ground or whatever. I don't want to get too graphic on this, but the funeral directors' roles have changed, and what we're finding, the U of M is one of the few schools in the country that has a 4-year program. I think at the time when we put that program in place, it was great, but now we need to look at other options here for training. They come out of the U of M with a fairly hefty debt, and we're not desirable to do their training here, and so what we're asking simply is another licensing pact with other neighboring states, and I believe even chair backers on the bill. I think out in those areas in the rural Minnesota, again, we're having trouble getting staff, so this would help us recognize another license from another state and tell the department that we would accept that license.
Thank you, Representative Hewitt. No testifiers. Any other members of the public wishing to testify? Seeing none. Discussion to the bill. Chair Becker.
Yeah, Minnesota is an outlier for this because we make it so more difficult for people to go in this business in Minnesota. So I support this bill. Where we're at, a lot of our folks, when they pass away, they're working with folks in South Dakota because number one, it's cheaper, and number two, it's easier to find folks. So supply and demand, the supply is still there, but it's that cost. We don't make Minnesota more in line with the other states. So I've had extensive conversations with folks out west in my area and other areas that Minnesota is just way difficult. And quite frankly, it's not a fun business to go into. You know, you're almost like an EMT. When you're on call, you're always on call. But here, they don't have other people to take call. You're on call. When they come, there are it's a challenging business working with individuals. And then we just make it so much more difficult for people to get into this business and for them to attract folks from other states to be a mortician. They're raising the cost. Our community had a funeral home and they had closed because they couldn't find a mortician to even share with other neck of the woods. So I like the bill. Thank you, Representative Hewitt.
Representative Chair Liebling.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair, and thanks again, Representative Hewitt, for handling these difficult issues. I have really mixed feelings about this bill because I wonder if, people who are already licensed in Minnesota, are they going to feel like we're undermining them by letting in people who have less training and suddenly, I wonder if this needs a bigger fix. And, it kind of made me think about maybe we need different levels of licensure. Maybe to do the embalming, maybe you need, I don't know, maybe you need that degree. But we have a school of mortuary science here at the university, and I just wonder if we're undermining our school, But on the other hand, I do not believe in requiring, this almost goes back to our discussion on the massage bill, to require all kinds of education that's not really relevant to what you're going to be doing in a profession. We don't want to do that either. So I have really mixed feelings about doing this. And could you just discuss, and sorry if I missed it, like who supports this and who's weighed in on it or could be weighing in on it that maybe doesn't know about it?
Mr.
Representative
Chair.
Hewitt.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair and Chair Liebling. Great question, and you know what? It's above my pay grade, but I do have phone a friend. So I'm going to ask the president of the Minnesota Funeral Association to come on up. I believe he's from Washburn McGreevy, and he speaks for the industry. So I hope I called the right person.
Thank you for being here. If you would just take your seat and introduce yourself to the committee, please, and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jordan McCreevy Seitz. I'm the president of the Minnesota Funeral Directors Association, which represents more than 650 licensed funeral directors and over 250 licensed funeral establishments. I want to thank Representative Hewitt for his work on House File 84. Minnesota's funeral profession, like so many others, is facing a workforce challenge. Funeral homes across the state are struggling to recruit licensed morticians as we seek to attract funeral directors from other states. Our reciprocal licensing requirements presents a significant barrier. As mentioned, Minnesota is one of 4 states in the country that requires a bachelor's degree to practice mortuary science. An out-of-state mortician seeking a reciprocal license must also meet this requirement. The result is that experienced licensed morticians from nearly every other state are effectively shut out of practicing in Minnesota. House File 84 addresses this by creating an alternative pathway within the reciprocal licensing process. Specifically, the bill allows an out-of-state mortician to qualify by demonstrating at least 3 years of practice in another jurisdiction with documented completion of 25 embalmings, 25 arrangements, and 25 services. The applicant must also pass the required examinations, complete continuing education, and submit an affidavit for confirming that they are not subject to any pending investigations or practice under a restricted license in another state. Essentially, this bill is not a shortcut. This bill maintains strong standards and consumer protections. It simply recognizes the years of on-hand experience in another state that should count for something when we are asking qualified professionals to come to Minnesota. MFDA believes that this bill strikes the right balance between maintaining high standards and addressing the workforce needs in our profession.
Representative Liebling, did you get the answer you were seeking?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not really. I was kind of looking through the questionnaire that we have in our packet too, but so could the testifier, like you represent a lot of morticians and a lot of the establishments. Are there a lot of, how many morticians are not represented by your organization?
Mr. McCreevy.
Minnesota.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Liebling. In regards to amount, we represent about 60%, so there's about 40% throughout the state that aren't represented by our association.
Chair Liebling.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, you know, I guess I continue to have mixed feelings about this. I think a larger reform is probably needed. I mean, I recognize that it is difficult to have the workforce shortages, but I wonder if we pass this, it almost encourages someone to, instead of starting their career in Minnesota, to move out of state, work for 3 years, and then come back. And I really don't like that idea. I mean, if we're requiring too much of people here in Minnesota, we should take care of that, not set up our Minnesotans to have to compete with people who come in with an easier time into the profession and then come across the border and work here. I don't know. I feel like I don't have as much information as I need about what the impact of this would be, but it's being laid over, so it could still be discussed. So thank you, Representative Hewitt. Thank you to the testifier. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Representative Hewitt, did you have a comment?
No, I think,
Okay.
I think the chair's hitting the right areas there.
I'll move to Representative Vice Chair Nadeau.
I'll pass, thank you.
Pass. Representative Van Binsbergen.
Just comment, thank you, Representative Hewitt, for carrying this bill. We carried something similar last session for CPAs and accountants, and this kind of falls into that line of thinking, and I appreciate that. I live in central Minnesota. I see the shortage of what's going on there. This is clearly going to fill a void, and, you know, I'm a believer in this is going to create a little more competition, and maybe there'll be some new people, more people that will get involved in the industry, and I believe that's a good thing. You know, our overall arching goal should be to make Minnesota more affordable and for our residents, and this is clearly one way to do so. So I thank you for the bill.
Closing comments, Representative Hewitt.
No, and I thank you, Mr. Chair, for considering this. We'll hear more in the next bill that comes up about some of what's going on in the industry, but I appreciate you laying this over.
Representative Hewitt renews the motion that House File 84 be laid over for possible inclusion, and the bill is laid over.